Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only PDawgKnight.
Yeah, I did that this time. Let's just get into it. I don't even think did I even change the thumbnail? I think I did. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, and I'm not giving people a chance to get here just because I'm so late in. Plus, I had so many things I want to talk about today, and unfortunately, I'm going to talk about a subject that maybe not a lot of people here don't agree with me on, and I don't care because I'm watching this unfold and I'm just like, what is going on here? So please argue with me, give me your best shot. But I'm going to make some points and just kind of give you an example of what I'm talking about, where this Carmelo Anthony case, people are losing their fucking minds. And I'm not convinced that everyone's thinking this through logically. And as a person who is, based on the facts that I know, which I don't know all the facts, but based on the facts I know, the kid's going to be found guilty of a crime. Okay? Don't get me anywhere wrong on the other, that this is, that he used his self-defense case has any merit, or even if it had even a smidgen of merit. He's ruined that case if the facts that we know so far are true. If he said to that kid, touch me and see what happens, with his hand on a knife in his bag, and then, and then telling him to punch him, that right there gave his own intent of what he was going to do. He was going to use a knife to protect himself. And whether he meant to kill the kid, which I don't think he did, based on statements later that the police gave, whether he meant to or not, he killed the kid with a deadly weapon and an assault. And that becomes what it is, what they charged him with. It becomes murder and not just a self-defense case. And I'm basing that on just learning what the Texas laws are from various people on the internet who are lawyers. And again, those are just my opinions. You never know what a jury's going to do, how a jury's going to look at it. If the judge gives instructions that way. Now, the judge in this case is a Republican appointed judge, even though she's a black woman. But see, people make assumptions because she's a black woman that this is not going to be a fair trial. I don't buy that. Okay, again, a lot of it is that's the reason I named this. It's not that simple. Okay, it's not that simple. And I get it. People have a strong feeling about it. The kid had no business taking a gun to school. I get all of that. But, and this is not a but about whether I think he has a case. I don't. But the way people are talking on the internet, they're not doing that from a logical perspective. They're not making those statements did I say gun? I meant knife. Excuse me. They're not doing it from a logical perspective. They're doing it from a social, emotional perspective in which you may understand why it's distressing me a little bit, because they're making assumptions about someone. And the only thing I can think of that they're making assumptions about is the same way the woke left makes assumptions about people based on the race of the kids. And honestly, this case has nothing to do with race, at least on the onset. Not that we have no evidence that it had anything to do with race. In Frisco, Texas, is a fairly diverse community. I mean, not super diverse, but it's diverse. Both kids probably had white friends, black friends all over the place because it's Frisco, Texas. Frisco's a fairly nice suburb, both of them. So anyway, I'll get to that part. I'll do some of the preliminary stuff just to get more people in here. But I'm probably going to piss some people off today, or just at least some. There's going to be some disagreements today, and I'm okay with that. I'm still me. I still do what I do. So it is what it is. And so I'm anticipating people argue with me in the chat today, but it is what it is. So anyway, good morning, everybody. It is the 17th of April, Thursday. Usually FTG Thursday. Some of you will probably FTGing me today because I'm pissed off. I just don't like the direction that the emotional arguments on this are going, and some of and especially a lot of the conservative, let's get all the facts influencers on the internet who've gone all in on this, on some things that are just stupid. And the reason I said let's get your facts right is because of something the New York Post did that people obviously didn't read the whole damn article, and it doesn't matter. It's the Post information is fairly irrelevant. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Bookworm Addict. My former brother-in-law died last night. I if you liked your former brother-in-law, that's sad. I hope you did. I mean, it's not just because someone divorces someone in your family doesn't make them bad people. My former brother-in-law, I get along with pretty well with to this day, and they were divorced in the mid 90s, but I still get along with my former brother-in-law, and I would be sad if he died. Anyway, let's say hi to everybody. Good morning, Avocados Diabli, who gets the bell, who was here first. Also, good morning, Tyler F., Somnambule Nation, Bookworm Addict, Mike Savage, Blarg, Jesse Leon, back for some punishment, Tyre, Alexander, The Scourge. Good morning, also, Lewis, a new regular. Happy to have you here on almost the daily, man. Also, Blue-Eyed Scream, Johnny Boomertech, that's my guy, Attack Alpaca, and Lord Stanhope. And I'm sure more people will show up. Hit the like button while you do it, and tell people they're probably going to be pissed off at me, or they might be. I know some people will be. Some people will be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just going from a logical perspective on what I talk about today. But while we're waiting for more people to show up, I'll try to get in 20 minutes of news, and then we're going to spend the last half hour of the show talking about oh, you really liked Bill? Well, then, yeah, okay. Well, I'm sorry for your loss, man. I know there's, people are people, and if someone you had a relationship with, even if someone who's formerly married to your sister, I mean, like at the time, I liked my brother-in-law better than I liked my sister. So, yeah, I can understand how that could suck. That really sucks. All right, let's get into some just news items first while we're trying to make sure people have time to come in here. Let's see. Oh, by the way, thanks to people sharing the show. I didn't put the link up in the chat today, obviously. Mike Savage, Somnambule Nation, appreciate that. And as far as today's holidays, there's some crazy holidays today. Today is National High Five Day. Great. International Bat Appreciation Day, unless you're from Wuhan. Blah, blah, blah Day. Don't know what to say? Celebrate blah, blah, blah Day and embrace the art of small talk. Who knows? You might just discover something interesting. There you go. Hello, GDSOB. Good morning. World Circus Day. That's cool. Circuses are cool. At least they were when you were a kid, but boy, I bet they're just a pain in the ass for parents. International Pizza Cake Day. What? Indulge your taste buds and celebrate International Pizza Cake Day. Elevate your love for pizza to new, deliciously sweet heights. I've never heard of pizza cake. I'm sorry, just not. International Haiku Poetry Day. National Cheese Ball Day. Now, there's a day that I can get into because, I live next to Wisconsin. Maundy Thursday on the church calendar. No Limits for Deaf Children Day. I didn't know that. I wonder if there's a limit for Deaf Children Day. I don't know. National Kickball Day, Holy Thursday, Herbalist Day, Ford Mustang Day. Rev up your engine and join the celebration for Ford Mustang Day. Malbec Day. Hey, there's one I can get into. A little Malbec. It's wine if you're not sure what that is. And finally, National Crawfish Day. This would be a good day to take a trip to New Orleans or Baton Rouge or whatever and go to a crawfish boil if you're in that part of the country, or wherever else they do crawfish boils. So there you go. There's our holidays for the day. Because I don't really have any other things other than the rest is all going to be news. Apparently, Elena Stefanik, the Republican congresswoman from New York, is going to be running for governor of New York, I guess. Congresswoman Lisa Stefanik is reportedly weighing in, or at least she's weighing a run for the New York governor, and signaled that she could jump into the race with a statement Wednesday blasting New York Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul. She's been the House chair, Republican conference chair, or she was the Republican conference chair from 21 to 25. She was nominated to be the ambassador to something, and then they withdrew it because they didn't want to take out any more Republicans from the House. So that's interesting. Other things here. Let's see. I'm just going to go through these fast. In science, the first images ever of a live, transparent, colossal squid in its natural environment. So they had this unmanned sub or whatever go down to about 600 meters, 1,968 feet below the ocean surface, and they got a picture of the squid. This is kind of cool. Check this out. I hope there's. I'm gonna mute the music. So here's this. This is kind of cool looking. Look at that thing. So, and just creepy things in the depths of the ocean. How about that? How many fathoms is that? I can't fathom how many fathoms that is. So there you go. So anyway, that's cool. All right. You can see that on the screen, right? Yeah, the things they've seen down super deep in the ocean, some of them are pretty concerning. See those transparent fish too that are swimming by. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations to the Smith Ocean Institute for being able to do that. Also in the news, Roman Reigns, the WWF star, apparently is in hot water with a certain number of his fans because apparently he's endorsed Trump or something, or said something nice about Trump. Roman Reigns, known as now this is the first sentence of this. Roman Reigns, known for his centrist views. Oh, really? I had no freaking idea what Roman Reigns thought of politics and didn't really care up till now. But if he says it, I guess it's interesting. Despite being a registered Democrat, has publicly endorsed Donald Trump, stirring a variety of reactions among his fan base. I bet. I'm sure there's people doing that scream that the lady did the first time she got inaugurated. Some fans expressed disappointment, feeling a sense of betrayal over his political alignment. Betrayal of what? You don't even know Roman Reigns. You don't know him personally. Who gives a flying flip what you think of his... who cares? Oh, my God. That's so funny. Whereas others find his support for Trump unsurprising, citing the common trend among wrestlers to align with Republican candidates for financial and personal reasons. And really? Anyway, he said, here it is, Rest Ops. Roman Reigns says he supports Donald Trump, is a registered Democrat, but considers himself a centrist. Oh, that's why they said he was a centrist. No one knew he did. Okay, if you knew Roman Reigns' political leanings, put a 10,000 in the chat. Nobody fucking knew that. Hello, Nomad. What's up?
Stop. Hammer time.
It's just silly. But people are up in arms over Roman Reigns endorsing Donald Trump. Wait a minute. That didn't work. Who knew Roman Reigns was going to endorse Donald Trump? Anyway, there's that. Let's see what else is in the news here. This is interesting. Now, wait a minute. Yesterday, if you followed me on X, you saw this, perhaps, if you were on X at all. David Hogg, not in the news yet, but he posted this very interesting post yesterday on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Now listen to this. I'm going to read it for you. Hello, scribe, dog thrapple. Let's listen to this. This is David Hogg. You know David Hogg, the seems like a co-chair of the Democratic Party now, and the guy, the kid who, basically stood on the bodies of his dead classmates to become famous. He writes, everyone in our party says they want to start winning again. And they do, but that simply will not be possible with our current set of leaders, too many of which are asleep at the wheel, out of touch, and ineffective. As a result, there are likely going to be stories in the next few days and weeks about me and leaders we deserve, which is his organization, that will aim to destroy my reputation in order to weaken this effort. Many of them will be lies. Oh, many of them will be lies? Interesting you didn't say all of them will be lies. Many of them will be contortions of the truth because people want to maintain the status quo, even though it is not working. We cannot afford to do that. We're not going to let that happen. Now, what has David Hogg done? And his organization, Leaders We Deserve. Now, we know, we read something about this a while back about there being an interesting, just the funds that Leaders We Deserve get and how David Hogg has used them and maybe not been done everything correctly, whatever, dotted his I's and crossed his T's and whatever correctly. But, it's all been speculation up to now. But he seems to be trying to get out of ahead of something. Is it just me? And so then I looked over at this, this article came up from PJ Media. Meet the man who murdered the Democratic Party with a prominent picture of none other than David Hogg. And so here's what apparently what he was talking about. This was posted this morning. Oh no, this is April 16th. Yesterday afternoon. A pair of earth-shattering, history-altering Chris Christie-sized stories broke this week, but they've mostly skated beneath the political periphery. That's because you can't grasp the sheer enormity of the consequences until you connect them together. On their own, they're inconsequential back-of-the-page news stories, scarcely soliciting a shoulder shrug from political blocs. But together, as a 1-2 punch, they will change American politics forever. And it will be the murder of the modern American Democratic Party. There's been a slow-moving coup, but nobody's noticed. It's tied to the larger political realignment nationally. Under the MAGA banner, the GOP has evolved into the party of the working man. The Bush-era days of country club conservatives has come and gone, assuming the club isn't Mar-a-Lago, of course. We've gone from Wall Street to Main Street. But the Democratic Party is realigning too. Liberals are frothing in furious rage, and not only at Republicans, a record number have lost faith in the Democratic Party. Its favorability has never been this dismal. Liberals are begging, pleading for new leaders and a new direction. Even in New York, 53% of Democrats want to fire the Democrat Senate leader, who is from New York. Of course, the smarmy prick from New York, Chuck Schumer. This isn't normal behavior, and there's never been a better time for an outsider to seize control. So the first big story is that Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's whistle-stop tour with Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, which in honor of Bernie Sanders, this person dubs it the BS Tour. Although they've been generating headlines for the size of their enormous crowds, even in ruby red districts, that's not the most meaningful part. There's a consensus forming amongst their supporters. They want to go to war. Hello, Hoka Sports, by the way. Liberals are demanding to be represented by a fighter among Democratic voters. An overwhelming majority, 72%, want someone more aggressive to battle Trump. Less than a third, 28%, sought a moderate approach. The liberal base will choose the most aggressive, fiery liberal candidate. Moderates need not apply. So ALC's electoral strength has reached a point where she could snuff out Senator Schumer's career if she wanted to. According to a recent poll, in a potential primary battle, she has a 19-point lead over the top Democrat in the state. Again, this isn't normal behavior. On tariffs, 77% want the Dems to attack Trump ASAP. Only 23% chose to see how tariffs play out. Nearly 80% said Doge has already gone too far. And they're deeply pessimistic about the economy, with 67% saying the stock market has already gone in the wrong direction. Oh my God. They care about the rich people's stocks? And 60% believe the economy will be even worse in 2026. On foreign affairs, they've gone from Kippus to Kefius. They loathe Israel and favor the Palestinians, and the younger they are, the more radicalized they are. Liberal analysts have even claimed that Kamala Harris' support for Israel dissuaded Democrats from voting and thus cost her the election. Make no mistake, the next leader of the Democratic Party will be loudly, brazenly, and unapologetically anti-Israel. Now, while she's shoveling fresh mounds of shit on her BS tour, AOC is also building her liberal bona fides cross-country, staking an ownership position in Bernie Sanders' political machine. The Vermont senator is 83 years old. He won't be running for president again, which means some lucky guy or gal will inherit his national database of socialist donors, grassroots activists, ambassadors, helpers, influencers, volunteers, and assistants. Well, so you get it. I'm going to skip down to the second part of the story. But what about the party itself? It's not an innocent bystander. Surely it wouldn't let itself be hijacked by the Bernie bros. Wouldn't the Democratic Party do what it did in 2016 and 2020 when BS got too feisty and put their fingers on the scales? No! That's what the second blockbuster story of the week, that brings us to the second blockbuster. David Hogg, the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, announced he'll be spending $20 million to target incumbent Democrats. Now, just reading that sentence makes me go, I wonder what knives will be coming at him. Back to him. David Hogg, controversial Democratic National Committee member, vice chair, is pledging to upend Democratic primaries by funding candidates who will challenge ineffective asleep-at-the-wheel Democrats. The move puts Hogg, now the 25-year-old who first gained national stature as an outspoken survivor of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, on a collision course with his own party and some Democratic House members. Wilting under the stress of MAGA, the Democrats are forming a circular firing squad, as Politico noted. It's an unprecedented and controversial move from the national officer within the Democratic Party that will enrage some insiders. Democratic Party committees, like the DNC, have traditionally not opposed incumbents in their own party, focusing instead on attacking Republicans, while the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee is explicitly set up to protect incumbent Democrats by providing resources and fundraising and strategy. Hogg's decision comes at a time when the Democratic Party is grappling with how to confront President Donald Trump and with what kind of Democrats can be their most effective messengers against the administration. Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, have faced intense pressure from the base voters to ramp up their opposition to Trump's administration. So, David Hogg is greasing the wheels for a very specific outcome: the elevation of younger, fiery, liberal leadership. And he's not coy about it. And that's, let's see, he acknowledged there are going to be people who are very, very upset about this, but argued Democrats are in a crisis right now, citing a recent CNN poll that found the party's approval rating at 29%, a record low for the party. Now, he interprets that as, quote, our base is craving dramatic change. We need to show our base we're here to fight for them. We need to show there are younger faces stepping up. So his little cryptic message, attacking his own party from inside, may cause some, well, I wouldn't say Arkansas, but certainly the power party people who have control of the reins right now aren't going to go down without, well, I don't want to say bullets to the back of the head, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. So there you go. That's what's going on with David Hogg. A couple other items before I get to the topic I want to talk about. Jerome Powell says apparently they're not going to be lowering interest rates, and Trump is very annoyed by that. And there's even talk about whether or not the president should be able to fire the head of the Fed. Hello, Jabberjaw, by the way. And Ms. Wildwolf, what's up? Good morning. Other things, let's see. Letitia James, she's very upset that, we had talked about her yesterday, the problem with her real estate purchases and ventures. And the other one I missed too, apparently one of the houses that she bought in Virginia, she listed her father as her husband or some shit like that. I mean, there's crazy shit. Not that she's married. She didn't pull a Ilhan Omar, like she didn't marry her father, but somehow his name ended up on one of the whatever things. So anyway, that was weird. Legal insurrection. And this is awful. In Nigeria on Palm Sunday, 50 Christians were slaughtered. Fulani militias slaughtered numerous Christians on Palm Sunday in Nigeria. Terrorists murdered at least 54 in a Ziki village located in Bassa County. They call them Bassa State, or west of Plateau State. It's capital. So brutal. That's fucked up. Hello, Dom O'Leary. And also in the lawfare department, an Obama-era judge or appointed judge ordered Trump to disperse $20 billion to green groups, including Stacey Abrams' organization. I don't know if that's going to win the appeal process. A federal judge ruled late Tuesday evening that the Environmental Protection Agency must immediately restart a $20 billion Biden-era green energy program that the Trump administration terminated last month, restarting the flow of taxpayer funds to 8 environmental groups, including one linked to Georgia Democrat Stacey Abrams. Now we know this name, Judge Tanya Chutkan of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, whom former President Barack Obama appointed in 2013, issued a preliminary injunction blocking the Trump's EPA actions. Now that's the famous Judge Chutkan who had... which case did she have? Did she have the documents case for Donald Trump? It's amazing how this judge, there's 68 judges in the District Court of District of Columbia, and I just happened to get another one of his cases. What a coincidence. What a coinky-dink. All right, other news. El Salvador, couple things happened. The Judge Boasberg, who also just amazingly gets a bunch of Trump cases, may be referring the Trump administration for criminal contempt of court, which would require the Justice Department to prosecute whoever he names in that one of those cases. And the Justice Department is run by the executive branch. So then the judge would have to find some way to get a special appointed judge of his own to try a case of contempt, because he's mad that they didn't stop the flight mid-flight of the illegal aliens that they sent to El Salvador back when he said it in his courtroom, but never filed the papers until later that day, by the time that the plane had already landed in El Salvador. And they're mad that they won't bring him back, even though now they no longer have jurisdiction over these El Salvadorian citizens, who are now, many of them, in prison. It's a mess. Hello, Select Boy.
Yeah, boy.
It's a mess. The article's here. Also, Senator Van Hollen went to El Salvador, and basically it was a photo op because he didn't get to see any of the prisoners or Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. Senator Chris Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador to address the case of Kilmar Abrigo Garcia, who was deported and is currently detained there. The visit was intended to secure Garcia's return to the U.S. following the Supreme Court ruling that his deportation was illegal. Well, it wasn't. No, that's not what they said. They didn't say his deportation was illegal. Other than they deported him to the wrong country because there was already a deportation order. But then the reason he couldn't go back to El Salvador because he would be persecuted by the rival gangs to his MS-13 gang that people seem to like to ignore. But anyway, so yeah, that that turned out to be crap. Denied. El Salvador will not allow Democratic senator to see man deported by Trump. El Salvador's government denied Senator Chris Van Hollen request to see Kilmar Abrigo Garcia, the Salvadoran man who was deported by the Trump administration, a move that has sparked Democratic outrage and court intervention. So, FTG Van Hollen. Also, it's funny because so many on the Democrats are insisting that this man was not a member of MS-13, and then when you go back and look at the some of the original cases when he came here, you go, oh, he wasn't. If he wasn't MS-13, he was surely MS-13 adjacent. In fact, Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin revealed on Wednesday that deported illegal alien and MS-13 alleged MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrigo Garcia was with two other MS-13 members when he was arrested in 2019 and found to have rolls of cash and drugs on him. So he's allegedly MS-13, but he was with two MS-13 members. He had rolls of cash and drugs on him, and he was afraid to be deported to El Salvador because of he had fear from the rival street gang in El Salvador. So alleged's a very loose term these days. Okay. So anyway, and in fact, apparently he had a rank, a street name, and revealed and his street name revealed as the fight over deportation to El Salvador mega president rages. So there's a couple articles on some of the MS-13 bona fides that he allegedly had. So there you go. All right, let's argue about the topic that I want to argue about today, because I know some of you will argue with me. I got a bunch of stuff on the Abrigo case in the links, but I'm skipping by it because I want to talk about the case in Texas. Oh, by the way, there's another case in Texas that's actually going to trial right now. Let me see if I can find that one too, because I wanted someone, hang on a second, someone responded to me. By the way, thanks again also to other people, Sound Noble Nation. That's it, Sound Noble Nation, for retweeting the show. There's a case in Texas going on right now that's actually in trial right now. That is similar but not the same, and that's why I don't necessarily. I'll show you the post first, I guess, because this is kind of dumb, but there are some parallels to the case that we're talking about right now in Texas, and that is this case. And this guy put this. What's funny, I could argue why this guy's post is stupid, even though the case is similar. He says, I wonder why the mainstream media hid this story, LMAO. In Texas, a white student is out on bail after stabbing a Mexican student to death on school grounds and is claiming self-defense. But when Carmelo claims self-defense and makes bail, it's a problem. Well, and the interesting thing is his statement, I wonder why the mainstream media hid this story. Well, no. This is a case that happened in 2022 and is finally going to trial. They didn't hide the case. They just you didn't get obviously anything that when it's black versus white is going to get a lot more attention, and especially during a Republican president's term. This case has gotten a lot of attention in Texas. And since it was during the Biden administration, the national media is not going to pick it up. And I don't know why the national media picked up the current cases. There are cases throughout the country that are always going to get picked up. But I do, let's see, where's the names on this case? His name is Cason Tyler Anderson. Let's just pull that up real quick. So you know what I'm talking about. Uh-oh, did I put the wrong name in here? I did. Oh, here we go. Murder trial. Oh, Allison, not Anderson. So this is a similar case in Texas. Timeline into the murder trial of case in Allison, accused Belton High School stabber. Former student at Belton High School is on trial for allegedly stabbing and death of another student that occurred on May 22nd in Bell County. On May 3rd, 2022, an altercation broke out between Case and Allison, the man accused of murder, and Joe Ramirez in a bathroom in a school shortly before 10 a.m. Police say after the stabbing occurred, Allison, who was 18 at the time, left the school and the campus was placed on lockdown as a precaution. Allison was later taken into custody off campus shortly after 10 a.m. while Ramirez was taken to a local hospital in an effort to save his life, but he was unable to recover and later died. Students were sent home for the rest of the day after the incident occurred. In the days following the stabbing, the community mourned the loss of Ramirez while a murder charge and a $1 million bond was set for Allison. So very, not similar, but not the same, obviously. You don't have to tell me that. I know that. So the details, according to the arrest affidavit a few days after the incident, police were able to obtain a video that showed Allison stabbing Ramirez during a fight in the bathroom where the incident occurred. A folding knife was found at Allison's home, covered in what police suspected was blood. Allison told police that he only stabbed Ramirez once, but when authorities examined Ramirez's body at the hospital, he was noted that he'd been stabbed in the chest, back, legs, and arms. In the days after the arrest, bond was changed twice. Once when he was charged with assaulting a family member on May 9th, 2022, which added $15,000 to his total bond amount, and the second time after he was indicted on a murder charge on June 9th, 2022, when the bond was reduced from $1 million to $175,000. So the bond was reduced on this murder charge too. A lot of people were mad that the bond was reduced on the charge for the other kid. Now, some of the details on this, as I've read in other stories, these are two kids who had planned on having a fight, but not in the school. And apparently Ramirez and some of his friends were at the bathroom when Allison, some of his friends came in the bathroom, and the fight ended up occurring sooner than they had planned because they got words or whatever. And so he pulls out a knife and stabs this kid. The kid dies. Okay. Now, the similarities are that one kid had a knife, one didn't. One was unarmed. This was obviously it's going to be tough to say in this case that it was self-defense, even though some of his friends said he never wanted to fight anyway. But those are the similarities, and they're not the same. They're not the same. I'm not even implying that they are the same, but I will tell you that the idea that there was a bond that was reduced from $1 million to $175,000 on a case where a white kid killed a Mexican kid. I guess if you want to bring the race into it, it seems like two young testosterone-filled idiots deciding to have a fight. So that's where the similarities are, is that the bond was changed. So the idea that the bond being reduced in Carmelo Anthony's case being unprecedented in a case where only one person had a knife and probably had an intention to use it, it got reduced. There you go. Oh, by the way, thank you, Avocados Diabli, dropping a small bullet in the tip jar, and you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Avocados Diabli says, so this guy who was found to be a member of MS-13 by two separate judges is not an adjudicated gang member, yet Trump is an adjudicated rapist because a single judge found him to be one. Apparently, I was not dropped enough as a kid. Yeah. It's funny how people are, more than one judge has said he's a MS-13 gang member, likely, and put it in writing in the court documents. But no, some people are saying, oh, he's not MS-13. He really is just a father from Maryland. In the country illegally with a lot of money and drugs. Anyway, all right, so that's the case that someone else decided to do a what about with, and in some ways it's valid, in some ways it's not. I think that kid's going to get found guilty too. So let's go back to where I want to go with this, though. because some more news has come up in the last day or so about this case in Texas. And it's courtesy of the New York Post. So the New York Post put this article out, and I don't know if it's who got the information on this, but we've heard people talk about it. Oh, his family went out and bought a $900,000 house and got new cars and all this shit. So here's the article from the New York Post. Carmelo Anthony, living with family in $900,000 home in gated community, bought new car after release on bond in Austin Metcalf murder case, according to a report. Now, I don't know who reported this because, they got some shit wrong here. But anyway, well, maybe they didn't get shit wrong, but people read this wrong, and no, they did not buy a new car. So we'll get to that. Texas teen accused of fatally stabbing a high school football star at a track meet allegedly lives in a $900,000 home with his family inside a luxurious gated community, despite requesting that a judge lower his $1 million bond because of financial difficulties, according to a report. Just because where you live, okay, we'll get back to this. Some people said they just bought this house. They did. They've been renting it since 2021. Anyway, Carmelo Anthony, 17, is holed up with his family at the pricey home inside a gated community of Richwoods in Frisco, Texas, after he was released from jail Monday and on a reduced $250,000 bond for allegedly killing Austin Metcalf earlier this month, the Daily Mail reported. The home, where rent is estimated to be $3,500 a month, had a white Suburban, a black Acura, and a third sedan in the driveway on Tuesday, according to the outlet. Oh my gosh, they own cars. Hello, Linda. A neighbor said the family just bought a new ride. Now, when he got a new car, the resident told the outlet, if you look at the license plate, it got a paper tag on it that says it expires June 4th. Do we know that that's the family's car? This is just some snoopy neighbor. Okay. But here's the thing. The Anthony family's not poor. I mean, people are talking about how. This article has a lot of stuff, and it says too, somewhere in the article, that this is not this. They didn't move. Just that they're not poor people. That's for sure. Another neighbor told the outlet the family's not poor. They live in a gated community. The home has been getting flooded with deliveries, allegedly for Anthony, with Amazon trucks being seen making multiple drop-offs at his home. I don't know what that means. Maybe they're, look, the reason this is annoying me is some of the conclusions, people jump to. Now, look, and I'm gonna reiterate this. I believe that he will be found guilty as charged. I'm not disputing that at all. I think he clearly, if the statements that we know, or at least I shouldn't even say no, because we can't confirm it until the trial goes through and there's actual evidence. All we know is the statements that have been made so far. And if those statements have been made so far are true, he will not be able to claim self-defense because of the initial statements of touch me and see what happens, while clearly he had his hand in his bag on the knife, and then saying punch me and see what happens. That is provocation, even though, and look, Austin McKinley, not Austin McKinley, what's his last name? The deceased, Austin Metcalf, excuse me. The deceased certainly had no reason putting his hands on him. He should have just got a school official or whatever. But in any case, he did, and there's no death penalty for that. And the people on X who are really driving me crazy, Benny Johnson, for example, insane, recently released killer Carmelo Anthony's family is taking the $430,000 raised on Give, Send, Go and moving into a massive new home. No, they're not. That's where they live. And the supposed new car that someone said, oh, they bought an Escalade. Yeah, in 2021. 23. The husband gave the wife a new car in 2023. And here's the other thing too. He just got released on bail, right? And they have been getting death threats according to their family and lawyer. I can assume that they probably are getting some because people are so emotional about this, right? Yeah, probably don't like it. There's a small chance he will get off. Just because you have a good case doesn't mean you will win. Yeah, there is a small chance. Hey, O.J. Simpson. That's all I can say. But here's the thing. The stuff that people are saying on the internet, you got to take with a grain of salt. No, he's not moving. They already live in the home. No, they're not using the $430,000 raised on Give, Send, Go. They haven't gotten a penny of that yet. They haven't even released that. No, they didn't just recently moved into the house. How would they have moved between the time that he got out on bail till now? You can't close on a house that week. You can't buy a new house that week. It's all just stupid. It's just stupid. How about we let the case proceed and hope that it goes correctly? So then we get Rob Smith. Again, another one who's just... Now, first of all, if the family's getting help from people with their legal expenses, I don't give a shit. If only just to get him make sure he has a fair trial, and also not to give him excuses for having a bad lawyer. Go for it. I don't think he has a case. If the facts that we know so far are true, and guess what? There's a video that's coming out. Apparently some, kids in their fucking phones video everything. And apparently there's a couple videos from more than one angle. If everything that we know so far or have been told so far is true, from a legal standpoint, the state of Texas, based on the laws in Texas, his self-defense case won't hold up. But again, here is Carmelo Anthony, the scammer and murderer. And I can say why you want to call him. It's very frustrating to listen to this shit.
Well, Carmelo Anthony, the murderer and scammer, is now scamming in a $900,000 house. This is from a story in the New York Post, which says...
Is his family scamming? Is it scamming if you already live in the house? Is it scamming if you use the money for legal? Because people are saying they're using the Give, Send, Go for buying a house and buying cars. They already own the cars. They already lived in the house. They rent there. The father's fairly successful. But guess what? If you're spending $3,500 a month on rent and you got some pretty heavy duty cars now, it's 800 plus now. Well, you know why it's 800 plus now? I'll explain that, because yes, there's a reason why that fund keeps getting blowing up and blowing up. It's because of videos like this. And people who are on the other side of this argument are like, oh, they're going to do this. We're going to give them more money.
That despite getting his bail lowered from...
I don't think they say their legal fees are already being covered. I'm having a hard time with that. But here's the other thing. And if they are, okay, so I don't know what the GoFundMe's for. But you don't think there's going to be a cost to this family? I've been thinking about this more than I really wanted to, because in fact I'm not even going to play Rob's video. Basically the same thing Benny did, and then I am gonna show you Maj's video, and I haven't even seen this other guy's video. But here's the thing. I'm putting myself in the shoes of this kid's parents. Actually, I'm putting myself in the shoes of both parents in this case. So the Austin Metcalf couldn't fucking imagine losing a son that way. And, it's one of the reasons why I don't ever act on my road rage, because you act on road rage, you try to do something with someone that you have no idea who they are, what might happen. You never know when someone has a gun in their car or has a weapon. And I just don't do the road rage thing. But putting myself in the, losing a son who has a twin brother whose son died in his twin brother's arm, it's fucking heart-wrenching. I also can put myself in the shoes of Carmelo Anthony's parents, where I find out that my kid did something so monumentally stupid as to take a knife to school and get in an altercation and kill somebody. Do you think his parents are out there joyously out there just trying to scam money? They're already fairly wealthy, or they're well enough to live in this gated community. But your son did something so monumentally stupid that he's probably going to go to jail. I know what the people who are saying, oh, he wasn't raised right, whatever. Well, he lived in a 2-parent family and they do fairly well. What do you mean, how about the dead child's family? I'm talking about both families. We don't know anything about how this kid was raised. We don't know anything about either family other than they're involved in this incident. And so I'm having I can't make judgments on his parents. Now I believe he's guilty. But the way it's just coming out, people losing their fucking minds, man. They probably, they're probably nicer shoes to picture yourself in, alligator or some shit. Now that's funny. Okay, that's funny. I can't. That is funny. But I want to play Maj Touré's take on that. Well, I don't have time now. Shit. I want you to go look through all these videos, though. I haven't seen what Flex wrote here either.
As a ginger man that used to play the guitar in the woods and made a hit song once said,
What?
It's a damn shame what the world's come to for people like me and people like you. And
Flex is only 3 minutes.
I can't help but think,
I haven't seen this. I'm just
damn, that motherfucker was spitting, because there's this weird epidemic that's now sprouted up amongst the right. And I understand it's always been there, this weird racialist narrative on the right, and it was simmering. For those of you that were back, around 2016 or so, you remember they always tried to call the right racist, and the right would say, no, we're not racist, but we just want, da-da-da-da-da-da. And it was reasonable. Well, fast forward to 2024 and beyond. And, we won the election, and guess what? People stopped caring, and this little faction, this racialist faction on the right, they saw their opportunity to spring up. And a lot of people might think I'm just saying this because of the Carmelo Anthony saga. And I'm not. It's not even about Carmelo Anthony. Honestly, truth be told, I could give a damn about Carmelo Anthony or Austin Metcalf. And I'm sorry if that hurts many of you guys that want me to be pissed off, that want me to be emotionally involved, that want me to say, yeah, that's our Black King, or, oh my God, how dare this animal kill that poor, young, noble white man. I'm not going to say either of that. You know why? Because this is a private case between teenagers and violence, and it's been adjudicated in the court of law. What I will say is some of the behavior that I'm seeing out of people on the right, people that, again, many of us used to stand shoulder to shoulder. Like, God dang, man, how easily psyoped are you people? In this situation, one of the worst things you can do is to draw a line on a racial basis, to draw this proverbial line in the sand and have it be between the whites and the blacks. Because, might I remind you, the media uses X as well. They love when people on the right self-immolate. They love when this stuff happens because it gives them a nice amount of screenshots to post. And I know you guys say, oh, nobody uses the mainstream media, but guess what? X is not the end all be all for reporting. I'm sorry, it's just not. A lot of people do use the mainstream media. A lot of people use other places on the internet, the missing link media. And you guys provide a copious amount, a cornucopia, in fact, of screenshots that can be used come the midterms and beyond. So anything that you think that you're doing to help, any narratives that you think you're sowing, and I'm talking about you guys, the influencer class, the kind that will sell their soul for a bag of peanut
clicks.
M&Ms on Influenceable. You motherfuckers are, you're doing more harm than good. But I understand, though. It's a hard algorithm, right? And you got to do what it takes to get those sweet, sweet engagement bucks. And appealing
Hello,
to the
Critical
YQ
Minds, by the way.
crowd just
Welcome to the
helps.
show.
But understand, you're not helping your case. And you're not hurting me. No. You can call me the N-word. You can do whatever. I can give a damn about it. You're only hurting yourself and your guy, right? Your guys in Congress and in the White House. That's who you're hurting. So please, shape up, have some decorum, and understand when to just shut the fuck up and help yourself.
I say, let the case run its course. And, Linda, I mean, you say it's both awful and stupid. It's, it's, I don't care if it's awful or stupid or whatever. If my son did something like this, that's a tragedy for my family too. And regardless, I am going to at least try to do what's best for my kid. And even if I don't agree with what he did, and, so many people coming at his family for doing what he, for what they're trying to do for the kid. Obviously he's on home confinement in the $900,000 house. But holy shit, because my kid's going to jail probably. And so I guess I can empathize that as a parent. But the idea seems premeditated. Yeah, sure. Again, undeveloped brains are doing stupid shit. And, and especially if it's true what the police said after they put him in the police car and he asked if the kid was all right. Hey, dumbass, you stuck a knife in his heart. Of course he's not all right. Texas law states it's illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to carry a knife. So Carmelo is 17. That's a huge charge right there. Yeah, there's a certain knife size that I think it's anything over 5 inches, any kind of locking knives, any whatever. But it's based on the type of knife. Look, I don't think he's not getting off for this at all. There's a lot of problems with everything he did, obviously. And, this, even though, it's weapons on the school grounds, which technically is not the school grounds, but it's school property. All the schools share this stadium where they do track meets. It's a community school property. Good morning from Las Vegas. Defense attorneys are expensive, but they serve a purpose in our established system. Justice is always sought and rarely found. Tragedy for everyone, including the witnesses. Oh my God, I can't imagine being anyone involved in this, especially his brother. Oh my God, just awful. Good morning, Woo. What's up? But I just hate how this is being played out on the internet. This has become, and it's largely become white versus black, and it's just stupid. Although there's plenty of black people who are like me and realize that this kid has no case. There's some though that are, it seems like in any of these cases that's white versus black, which get blown up, or even the potential white versus black, Kyle Rittenhouse, we jump into these stupid factions, and it's really just it's disheartening. You know, it's only white versus black because that's the narrative that's always pushed. Yes, but pushed by everybody. And the media loves this shit. Everybody's looked in the minister, right? I don't know what minister. I'm not sure what you're talking about. You talking about the minister lawyer guy? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Should have kept him in jail. Well, Lenny, were you here when I showed you this other case? This is Texas. Kaylin Allison. This is a case that's actually going to trial right now. It's in the middle. The trial just started for this one. This is a case where Case and Allison, white kid, and got in a fight with a Mexican kid, stabbed him to death in a bathroom. They had a planned fight ahead of time. Stabbed him multiple times, and the kid died. Should they have kept him in jail? He was charged with murder, had $1 million bond. The bond was reduced to $175,000, and he got out on bond. Was, again, similarly to this case, remanded to home on a home ankle bracelet, and now he's going to trial right now. So it's in Texas. They will release a 17-year-old on bond. In the custody of his parents. And this one was also probably not it seems like a cut and dry case where this kid's not going to win, carrying a knife in the school. But that's what they do. Apparently they'll allow this in Texas in under various circumstances and reduce the bond. So it happens. My opinion, sure, both of them should have stayed in jail until their trials. But think about this. This happened in 2022, and the trial's just starting 3 years later. That's a long time to be in jail if you're innocent until proven guilty. So it just is what it is. The name of the case, his name is Kason Allison. You can see it on the screen there. Here, I'll put it in there and you can look it up. And the details are very different in this case. I'm not saying that they're completely similar, except for the fact that they both charged with murder for killing another kid at school. And when I say the kids are stupid, and this was a stupid event, it was stupid for both kids. I don't think, even though the kid was in the wrong tent on a rainy day, it really isn't the student's job to push someone out of there. You can tell them to get out, but then go get someone of authority that the student's probably not going to stab. But that part of the story is just is just this whole story sucks. I'm going to be honest with you. So anyway, I think I have all these in the links here. Do I have everything in here? By the way, here, this is the one last thing I want to talk about. So Damme Lucre or whatever, who's definitely on the right, but breaker of narratives, he calls himself. Let's do this. Breaking. It has been revealed that Carmelo Anthony has not withdrawn cash from Give Send Go fundraiser, and that the $800,000 house was leased for $3,750 by the family in 2022. They've lived there for 3 years. It's the same address that's been on the white pages for the past 2 years. The report about the Cadillac was completely fabricated, which hurts his case, spreads further division and accusation of bias. We are moving closer towards a race war thanks to influencers, not civilians. Carmelo has had both parents in his life, a reported 3.7 GPA, an alleged track runner and football player. None of this means he's innocent. It only means that information has been spread to make him appear Well, he says more guilty, just worse. We don't know anything about this kid. You assume, yeah, he has kind of dreadlock hair. He must be a thug. We don't know that. We just know he carried a knife with him one day and did the fucking wrong thing with it. It is a narrative to make white Americans repeat lies that they read from trusted sources and make black Americans view whites as uneducated and racist when they see the lies. Because these things about the house and the cars are lies, or at worst, or at the very most charitable, mistaken. We all just want truth and justice, but false information brings us closer to war. We can't allow a narrative to manipulate us into manipulating each other. Express your pain, your concerns, and anger, but don't spread lies, because that causes confusion, which oftentimes isn't solved with words. I'm here to break narratives and bring us close to being one, the way God intended. Jacob Wells found, he got this from TMZ. Jacob Wells, co-founder of the popular crowdsourcing platform, tells TMZ no funds have been distributed as the company receives clarity from recipients' use on campaign funds, so that people who have given can be confident how their donation is being used. So very good. So anyway, it's a frustrating case. Don't know that. Have you seen his social media? No, I haven't. I don't. So let me clarify. I don't know that. Yeah, I know there's a picture of him with an airsoft gun that looks like an AK-47. My kids and his friends played with airsoft guns when they were younger. Okay. I don't know. I haven't seen his social media, and maybe I'll have to look into that too. But I just think my point today is exactly what just Stably just wrote there. Maybe people just need to take a step back and let things proceed through the process and hope that they get the process right. And so I have tons of other articles open, but I didn't get to them because this is what I wanted to talk about today. But there's a lot of great articles. Plus, I dropped the aggregator in the links today. Tomorrow I'll be free for all Friday. If you have different, tomorrow if you have articles you want me to see, free for all Friday, drop an article in my DMs on X or whatever, or email me at PDawgKnight.live or PDawgKnight@gmail.com, or in the Discord server. You can drop some articles in the news section. I'll be checking before the show tomorrow. And we'll try to have a little more light conversation. How's that sound? Anyway, here are all the links from the show in the chat, and I'll drop them in the description also of this video, stream, whatever. That's it. Gotta go. Thanks for being here. My name's PDawgKnight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.